Pakistan. And this kind of censorship in which the people who are voting on Wednesday, 25th July, they're not getting a full picture of the political situation in the country.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Reporter Amber Shamsi in Islamabad. The next story is far from the experience of Canadians, but a daily reality in India. Tens of millions of people still don't have access to flush toilets, and the people who pick up after them are called manual scavengers. While it's officially banned, those at the lowest level of society continue to do the job no one wants. Murali Krishnan has the story.
The iron pan, broom and wooden scraper Parameshri carries singles her out as someone to avoid. It's a traditional kit of manual scavengers. They are the people who pick up human excrement every day from India's thousands of dry toilets, which have no water or flushing mechanism. Dressed in a yellow sari, Parameshri trudges through lanes choked with vegetable vendors and rickshaws. She avoids the look she gets on the streets in the southern city of Coimbatore. It's a tiresome drill she follows every day. The 55-year-old inherited her menial job from her mother. It's the only work she knows.
I wish I could stop this job. Everyone looks at me disgustingly. If I go to a bank, the manager tells me to stay outside. Shopkeepers drop the rice to me. They won't touch me.
In another neighborhood, Shanti Amma has worked up a sweat after cleaning 15 dry toilets. She's now waiting to do her next job. A member of one of the 30 households she services daily is still using the toilet. Once it is vacated, she can collect water waste heap in the hole in the ground. This work reinforces her status on the lowest rung of society.
They treat us very badly, worse than animals at times. Even my children are treated differently in school and made to sit separately.
The practice of manual scavenging has been banned for decades in India, but continues unabated. Many states openly deny the existence of people who carry out this dirty job. But activists working for the community estimate the number to be around 1 million, raising awareness among groups of scavengers that they can choose not to do this job is a tough task on account of India's deep-rooted caste system. Bindesh Pathak works for Sulabh International, an organization that works to end the practice.
Actually, now we have to make efforts like we did for getting freedom. So we have to mobilize people and motivate and work like this, freedom from dirt and filth. That includes toilets also.
Pathak's organization has opened up several training centers across the country, where thousands of scavengers have learned other vocational skills, from pickle making to tailoring. Supreme Court lawyer Shamona Khanna has been involved in getting states to abolish the degrading practice for years now.
Manual scavenging is invisible, and it has been invisibilized so cleverly that just getting people to acknowledge, getting state governments to acknowledge that manual scavenging exists has been a real challenge. And until you acknowledge that a problem exists, you can't begin solving.
The government does acknowledge the problem and has begun a new survey to figure out just how many manual scavengers there are. It has also launched the Clean India campaign aimed at building waste management systems, but manual scavenging continues. Improving the waste system is one step, but getting Dalits like Parameshri to rise above the social constraints of a centuries-old caste system is perhaps the bigger challenge. Murali Krishnan, CBC News, Coimbatore, India.
You're listening to The World This Weekend on CBC Radio 1. Catch us anytime. Download The World This Weekend at cbc.ca/podcasting. Tweet us and follow us at CBCTWTW. I'm Vicadopia at VIKCBC. You could soon see a healthy and unusual option in the snack aisle. 2 American entrepreneurs are trying to turn an invasive plague into an edible environmental solution. But because of a U.S. trade dispute, their hopes may depend on Canadian appetites. Kim Brunhuber has the story.
Mind if I try a little there?
No, please.
This jerky is, to the uninitiated, an acquired taste. Think a piece of leather that's been left to soak in a bait bucket.
Are you guys happy with the flavors?
Yeah, well, we're gonna refine the recipe, I think, a little bit more.
The recipe for El Diablito jerky is a work in progress, says the man behind it, 30-year-old Mike Mitchell. But the fishy taste is intentional. I'm tasting the chewy brown strips in Berkeley, California, but they began life in a Mexican river, the Hypostomus plecostomus, or suckermouth catfish. But Mexican fishermen have given the lizard-like fish another name.
The Pez Diablo, the devilfish.
If you own an aquarium, you may know it as a type of pleco, which you can buy to keep your aquarium clean.
Today it accounts for about 70 up to potentially 80% of the wild fish capture in a lot of these regions. It's really like an evolutionary miracle.
This miracle isn't much to look at, all spines and scales, and it turns a cadaverous gray when you cook it. Few outside of its native Brazil are willing to eat it. In fact, many even wrongly believe it's poisonous, so it's usually considered a trash fish.
A lot of the properties that make it a hard fish to cook, as you would, say, a normal white flesh fish, actually lend itself very well to making jerky.
So Mitchell and fellow Berkeley student 29-year-old Sam Bordia started a company called Akari Fish and built a small processing plant in Mexico. Soon, local fishermen, instead of throwing out the hard-shelled, bottom-feeding Pez Diablo they caught by accident, would catch them on purpose and sell them to Akari.
How do you go about marketing creatures we don't really eat?
Yeah, it's a good question. This is a great opportunity where, like, by eating our fish, it's not only that you're not harming the environment, you're helping the environment. So we see a really positive story that we can tell.
They were hoping to have their first bags of jerky in U.S. stores by mid-August, but Bordia says there's a catch. A law protecting American catfish farmers from cheaper Asian imports means there is effectively a ban on foreign catfish, including theirs. So Bordia says the company is now thinking of launching El Diablito in Canada.
Just this last week, we started looking into what we need to do to comply with Canadian regulations, and then we can start shipping it around Canada, which is a really exciting opportunity for us.
So, will this actually work? Kim Thompson, who manages the Seafood of the Future program at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California, says there is precedent for rebranding trash fish.
The lionfish invasive species issue is also in that region in the Gulf of Mexico.
For years, Thompson says, sustainability-minded companies have been trying to sell Americans on the invasive lionfish, with mixed success.
So in terms of the broader market and having an international export market, it's a little bit tougher to say at this point whether or not that would be economically viable or make sense.
Now, days after graduation, the two head towards a bank near the Berkeley campus.
So this is your first check?
This is our first check. We are very excited to deposit it.
The first, they hope, of many, if they can create enough appetite in Canada for the strips of fish inside this package, or at the very least, the origin story printed on the bag. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Berkeley, California.
Now a look ahead at what's expected to make news in the week ahead. On Monday, StatsCan releases police-reported crime statistics for 2017. HMCS St. John's returns to its home port of Halifax after a 6-month deployment in the North Atlantic Ocean, Baltic, and Mediterranean seas. On Tuesday, a UK parliamentary committee questions newly appointed Brexit Minister Dominic Raab on the progress of EU negotiations. On Wednesday, the Assembly of First Nations votes for a new leader at a meeting in Vancouver. Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland will meet President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador in Mexico and discuss NAFTA trade talks. Donald Trump hosts European Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker at the White House to discuss trade and other economic issues. Paul Manafort, Trump's former campaign manager, goes to trial on tax and bank fraud charges in Virginia.